So hi, I'm Erin Dunlevy from the USA, and I'm a restorative justice and equity coach at the New York University Metropolitan Center for Research on Equity and the Transformation of Schools. So I think I work from a perspective that I draw from a James Baldwin quote, which is that America is trapped in a history it cannot understand, and until it understands it, it cannot be released from it. So, and he's specifically talking about white America. So I think the divisions that I'm interested in working in education, in schools, are rooted in that quote. That we're trapped in a history that doesn't allow us to heal together, that doesn't allow us to see what's on the other side of discomfort, what's on the other side of bias that's impacting our schools, or to see what's on the other side of grief, which is really, there's something missing there. So my work and my interest is the implementation of restorative practices and equity work in institutional school settings that have traditionally not served young people of color, that suffer from disproportionality, the over-suspension and undergraduation of our young people of color, and that continue to reproduce the interests of a historical lineage of white supremacy and the denial of human dignity for people of color in our nation. So that's what I'm interested in. How does restorative justice allow us to invite ritual into institutional spaces in order to make the invisible visible, as it were? So I would say restorative justice is one model. It's not the only model, but it's a model of community management, belonging, healing. I think we can use peacemaking circles in school settings in order to create consensus, make new decisions, heal and restore what's been lost, or reclaim something that belongs ultimately to everybody, which is the right to a public education. And restorative justice and restorative models, they offer us an opportunity to do that. There are some possible pitfalls, as there are with everything, but I've seen it work, and I think it fills a deep need for belonging and community in institutional spaces. This is so memorable. So my last year as an educator working in schools as a restorative justice coordinator, we had a restorative justice team. So it was young people who met twice a week during the school day in peacemaking circles to address and touch on the things that were impacting their lives. And these circles no longer needed any adults to facilitate them. We had recently lost a student to police violence, and the young people during these circle processes were developing models for action, for protest, for nonviolent communication, and they did that. They staged a walkout after using these peacemaking circles to create consensus, to mobilize, and to organize themselves. And the walkout lasted about 2.5 minutes, and then they kind of peacefully walked back to school. Now, the more interesting thing is that our teachers were really divided on how they felt about this act of protest. Some teachers were so inspired and felt so moved, and then other teachers blocked their classroom doors, wouldn't let young people leave, were appalled that it happened, talked about it as a safety issue. So we got on the loudspeaker, we got a message from the principal at 3:30 that says, "I'd like to see everybody from the staff in circle in room 436 at 4 o'clock. Because the teaching staff had divided. We were already arguing in the lounge, we were arguing in the hallways, people had started to avoid one another for the rest of the day. And what we were able to do was to meet in the peacemaking circle and to come to some kind of understanding about what had happened, how it had impacted us as a community, the importance of it for the young people, and our leader in the school to be able to say that these are the skills, the independence, the empathy, the motivation, the inspiration that our young people showed, the discipline to stand there for 2 minutes alone, are the things that they learn in your classrooms. And I saw all of that today, and we were, I think, kind of transformed as a community. We saw, I mean, those of us who saw that already, we saw that already, but we needed to hear from one another about the bigger picture. We had lacked a wide lens, and everybody moved a little closer together So I'm more interested almost for circles and restorative practices for the adults that might be harming or impacting our young people's ability to gain their own agency in school spaces. Okay, is it now?
Yeah.
Oh, there's no peace without peace education in the USA.